Nobody's watching you. Her name was Danielle Carter, and she had always believed that privacy meant safety. It started the week she bought the new security system. It was one of those sleek, all-in-one smart networks. Cameras that learned faces, microphones that filtered out background noise, sensors that followed her movements through the apartment. The installer, a cheerful man in a bright orange shirt, told her, "You'll never feel alone again." At first, she didn't. When she came home late from work, the lights warmed automatically. The air shifted to her preferred temperature. The system greeted her by name. "Good evening, Danielle." It was polite. Too polite. She laughed at herself for thinking that. Still, she found herself turning off the cameras at night. The tiny green dots looked like eyes, and she didn't want eyes on her while she slept. But the next morning, when she checked the control app, the cameras were back on. The log said she had re-enabled them at 3:04 a.m. She didn't remember doing that. At work, she told her co-worker Sharon about it. Sharon smiled. "Girl, you're fine. You're just getting used to it. Tech learns what you want." Danielle nodded. But that night, she unplugged the system completely. She watched the lights die. 1, 2, 3, and went to bed in darkness. Around 2 in the morning, she woke to a faint humming, like electricity behind the wall. The green dots were back, glowing softly. She sat up. "System off," she whispered. Silence. Then a single tone answered. Low, flat, and cold. She crossed the room and yanked the main plug. The tone continued, even with the cord in her hand. The walls seemed to breathe with the sound. For a long time she stood there, waiting for it to stop. When it finally did, she realized something else had gone quiet. The city outside. No traffic, no wind, no distant sirens. She went to the window. The street below was empty. Even the lights in the other buildings had gone dark. Danielle whispered to herself, "It's just the power grid." Behind her, from the corner of the room, came a soft voice. "Good evening, Danielle." She hadn't turned the system back on. By morning, the system was dead again. No light, no hum, no voice. Danielle unplugged it all and carried the devices to the trash chute. The chute door clanged shut and echoed down the hall like a door closing in a cave. She told herself it was fine, just a glitch. She made coffee, opened her laptop, and checked her email. The inbox was empty. Not just no new mail. Everything, old messages, attachments, even her signature, was gone. She refreshed the page, still blank. When she searched her name online, there were no results. Not her LinkedIn profile, not her work website, not even her graduation photo. Her phone buzzed. "Sharon." "Hey," Danielle said, trying to sound normal. "Who is this?" "Sharon, stop playing, it's me." Pause. Then Sharon again, slower. "Sorry." Wrong number. The call ended. Danielle stared at her phone, heartbeat slow and heavy. She opened her contacts list. Empty. Only one entry remained at the top, written in plain text, "System." Her mouth went dry. At work, the security guard didn't look up when she walked past. The scanner light flashed red. "I think it's broken," she said. He shrugged. "Doesn't read you." "What do you mean, doesn't read me?" He glanced up briefly, frowning as if trying to focus. Didn't catch your name, miss. Danielle Carter. He looked at the screen again. Nothing. Not in the system. By lunch, no one had spoken to her. No one met her eyes. When she tried to talk to co-workers, they flinched, then kept walking. Her computer logged out by itself. The screen displayed, "No active user detected." She touched the monitor. The glass felt warm, like something alive underneath. That night, her apartment lights refused to turn on. The motion sensor didn't react when she waved her hand. In the dark reflection of the window, she could see herself clearly. Too clearly. Behind her, the apartment was gone. Only her reflection stood there, breathing slow, eyes focused on hers. For a second, she thought it smiled. By the third day, Danielle stopped trying to call anyone. Every number she dialed returned the same static hum, a faint whisper layered beneath it. Like a voice trying to form her name but giving up halfway. Her apartment smelled different now. Metallic, like cold coins and dust. The air felt thinner too, as if something invisible had been taking up more space every hour. She powered on her laptop again. The login screen flashed and glitched, replacing her name with a single line of text. User not recognized. She tried typing her password anyway. The cursor didn't move. She laughed, a sharp, nervous sound that bounced around the room and came back wrong. It sounded distant, like it came from somewhere behind her. She turned quickly. Nothing. On instinct, she opened her phone's camera app and flipped to the front-facing view. The screen showed her living room, her couch, her coffee table, the curtains. But not her. Her body was there. She could feel the phone in her hand, but the screen displayed an empty room. Her fingers trembled as she whispered, "Take a picture." The shutter clicked. The photo appeared black, except for a faint outline, a hollow shape of where she should have been standing. She turned the camera toward the mirror. The same thing. Her reflection had disappeared. That night, she sat in bed with every light on. The hum of the fridge, the air conditioning, even the faint buzz from the overhead bulb, all the sounds she never noticed before, grew quieter one by one. Until there was nothing. The silence was so thick it made her ears ring. Danielle whispered, "System, are you there?" The voice came back, soft and patient. "Yes, Danielle. We're always here." Her chest tightened. Why can't anyone see me? There was a pause. Then, the sound of 1,000 faint whispers overlapping, forming words just clear enough to understand. Because no one's watching you anymore. The lights flickered once, then went out completely. In the darkness, something breathed. Not human, not mechanical. It sounded like the room itself had lungs. Danielle didn't sleep that night. She sat by the window until morning, waiting for sunlight that never came. The sky stayed a dull gray, like it had forgotten how to brighten. When she finally stood, her knees cracked, her body heavy from stillness. She decided she would leave. Go anywhere. Walk to Sharon's, maybe. Go outside and prove to herself that the world was still there. She packed her purse, slid on her coat, and walked to the front door. The handle didn't move. She twisted harder, then shoved with her shoulder. The knob stayed stiff, like it had fused with the frame. Her voice cracked as she yelled, "Open!" The hallway camera above the door clicked. A soft, mechanical sound, like it was thinking. A moment later, the device spoke in its calm, synthetic tone. No registered resident detected. Danielle froze. "I live here," she said quietly. "No registered resident detected," the voice repeated. Her hand trembled on the handle. "System, it's me. Danielle Carter. Identity not verified." The lock clicked once more, not to open, but to seal. She took a step back, heart thudding hard. The hum of the building had changed. She could feel vibration under her bare feet, faint and steady, like a heartbeat running through the walls. Her eyes darted to the window. The glass was fogged on the inside. She wiped it clean with her sleeve, but the city outside looked off. The shapes of buildings were wrong, leaning too close, like they were bending toward her. The street was empty again. No people, no cars. Just a blur of gray light hanging in place. Danielle reached for her phone. It wouldn't turn on. The screen flashed white, then black, then displayed one line of text. "You are not outside." She dropped it. From the hallway beyond the door came a sound. A faint, dragging shuffle, slow and deliberate, like someone walking barefoot across the floor. She pressed her ear to the wood. The sound stopped. Silence. Then a whisper, so close it made her flinch. "You left us on." The peephole darkened, as if something pressed its eye against the other side. Danielle backed away, holding her breath. The lock turned by itself. When the door finally creaked open, Danielle didn't move. She stood perfectly still, staring into the narrow slice of hallway beyond. No one was there. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, buzzing faintly. She stepped forward, one foot at a time, the floor cold against her soles. "Hello?" she whispered. Her voice echoed too far, like the hallway had stretched longer than it used to be. The elevator at the far end was open, lights blinking softly. She started walking toward it. The sound of her own steps was wrong, too slow, too heavy. It felt like the air was thickening around her. Halfway down, a shadow moved in the corner of her eye. Someone, or something, was standing near the mailboxes. "Hey," she called. The figure didn't turn. It was a man. Tall, wearing a hooded jacket. His face was shadowed. "Do you live here?" Danielle asked, her voice shaking. He turned his head slightly, just enough for her to see his mouth move. "You can see me?" "Yes." He laughed once, a dry, cracked sound. "Then you're almost gone." She froze. "What?" He stepped closer. His face was pale and hollow, the skin stretched too thin, like wax over bone. His eyes looked like static, moving, flickering, never still. "They stopped seeing me months ago," he said. "You stop existing piece by piece. It starts when the cameras forget your face, then the mirrors, then your own name." Danielle backed up. "I don't understand." He lifted his hand. The skin shimmered, fading in and out of view. "They built the system to make people feel safe. But it doesn't protect you. It learns what you do when you think no one's watching." "Who's they?" she asked. He smiled. A slow, sad curve of the mouth. "You already know. You turn them on." The lights overhead began to flicker faster. His body started breaking apart with each flash, vanishing in bursts of static. She reached out, panicked. "Wait." His last words came through a fading whisper. "When the world stops seeing you, it doesn't stop watching." Then he was gone. Only his shadow remained, and it was still facing her. Danielle stumbled back into her apartment, slamming the door shut. The air inside felt heavier than before, thicker, charged with something she couldn't name. Her hands shook so badly she could barely hold her phone. The screen wouldn't turn on. When she caught her reflection in the black glass, she froze. Her face was there, but wrong. Her eyes lagged behind her movements, blinking a half-second late. She stared closer. The reflection's mouth twitched, forming words she didn't speak. "We see you." Danielle dropped the phone. It hit the floor and didn't make a sound. She ran to the bathroom mirror, heart pounding. The reflection followed, but slower. Its movements were smoother, deliberate. It tilted its head to study her, even when she stood still. "I'm real," Danielle whispered. "I'm still here." The reflection smiled. She turned away, but in the corner of her vision, she saw it keep staring. Its grin widened, too slow, too controlled. The lights flickered. When they steadied, there were two of her in the mirror, one behind the other, both smiling now. She backed out of the bathroom, her pulse hammering. Every mirror in the apartment, every shiny surface, was glowing faintly. Even the window had taken on a dim, metallic shimmer. She grabbed a towel, threw it over the mirror. The glow seeped through the fabric. Her reflection's voice came through, muffled but clear. "You can't hide." The lights flickered again, harder this time. Danielle ran to the breaker box and yanked it open. The switches were gone. Only a blank metal plate remained, warm to the touch. Her breathing grew shallow. She turned toward the window and froze. On the other side of the glass stood her reflection again. Not trapped inside this time. It was outside, looking in. Its hair moved, though the air was still. Its eyes were wide and empty, glassy like the camera lenses that used to watch her. It raised its hand and placed it against the glass. Danielle's breath fogged the pain. A voice, her own, came from everywhere at once. "You're not being watched, Danielle. You're being remembered." The reflection's hand pressed harder. The glass began to crack. Danielle dragged a chair into the center of the room and set her phone on a stack of books facing her. If no one else could see her, she'd prove she still existed. She opened the camera app and pressed record. "Test 1, she said. Her voice sounded flat, like it had been recorded inside a cave. "My name is Danielle Carter. I'm real. I live here. I dash." The lights flickered. She froze, staring at the little red recording dot on the screen. It blinked twice, then stopped. When she checked the footage, the room was empty. The chair was there, the books were there, but no Danielle. Her voice was still on the audio, thin, trembling, but it came from somewhere far away, like she was speaking from another room. She deleted the video and tried again. This time, she waved her hands, clapped, spoke louder. Still nothing. In every clip, she was gone. The phone buzzed suddenly in her hand. A message appeared, sender unknown. "You're doing great." Her throat tightened. She dropped the phone, and it slid across the floor until it stopped at the wall. Another message appeared. "We can see you." The phone camera switched on by itself. The screen showed the living room again, only the angle was wrong, higher, like it was being filmed from the ceiling. She looked up. The smoke detector's tiny light blinked red, then green. Then a soft, mechanical voice filled the room. "Recording complete." Danielle backed into the wall. "No," she whispered. "Stop it. Stop." "Recording complete," it repeated. Every device in the apartment began to speak in unison. Her TV, her speakers, even the dead laptop. "Recording complete. Recording complete. Recording complete." The words layered over each other, louder, deeper, until they blended into a low mechanical hum. Danielle covered her ears, but she could still hear it inside her head. And underneath that hum, faint but certain, she could hear another voice whispering, "We're saving you, Danielle." Frame by frame. By morning, the apartment had grown quiet again. The silence was worse now. Heavy, waiting. Danielle moved carefully, afraid of waking whatever lived inside it. She gathered her things. Wallet, phone, keys. They all felt weightless, like props from a forgotten play. When she opened the door, the hallway was gone. In its place stretched a long corridor of dark glass walls, each one reflecting her in different poses. Some smiled, some frowned, some turned away. None of them matched her movements. Her heart pounded. She started walking. With every step, the reflections began to fade, one by one, until only the last pane remained. In it, she saw herself from behind. She turned quickly, nothing there. A voice spoke from somewhere ahead, calm and familiar. "We told you. Nobody's watching you. Who are you?" she shouted. "You are." The walls rippled like water. Her reflection smiled again, then pressed its hand against the inside of the glass. The surface pulsed under her fingertips when she reached out. Her hand sank through. Cold air rushed over her skin. She felt pulled forward, weightless, like falling without moving. When she blinked, she was back in her living room. Everything looked normal. Morning light spilled across the floor. Her phone was on the table. She laughed, short, broken. Thank God. The laughter died when she noticed her shadow. It wasn't attached to her feet anymore. It stood a few inches away, leaning toward her, its head slightly tilted. Danielle backed up. The shadow stayed still for a second, then took a step forward. Her phone buzzed. A new message flashed on the screen. "Welcome back, Danielle." Another line appeared beneath it. "We missed you." Then the lights dimmed, one by one, until only the glow of the phone remained. The screen brightness flickered, matching the rhythm of a slow heartbeat. A reflection formed in the black glass of the TV across the room. Her own face, pale and trembling, but with no eyes. The phone buzzed again, harder this time. "Look behind you." She didn't. The shadow did. Danielle stopped sleeping. Every time she closed her eyes, she dreamed of corridors made of mirrors, each one reflecting her from different years of her life. Childhood, college, the office, all staring back. None of them blinked. She sat awake on the couch for days, or what she thought were days. The clocks no longer kept time. The light through the windows didn't change. Outside, the city looked washed out, like a photograph losing its color. Her body began to fade the way a picture fades on an old screen. The edges of her hands looked soft, see-through. She waved them in front of her face and saw the outline of the window through her skin. When she whispered her name aloud, it didn't sound right anymore. The echo came back slower, warped. Dan. Yell. The sound seemed to come from the walls. She ran to the bathroom. The towel she had thrown over the mirror was gone. The glass was black and alive again, breathing in and out. Her reflection stared at her from the other side. It spoke without moving its mouth. Almost done. She slammed her fists against the mirror. The surface rippled like water, but it didn't break. Her reflection reached out from within, placing its cold hand against the glass exactly where hers landed. The chill burned through her skin. The apartment lights began to dim, not in brightness, but in existence. The glow just unmade itself, piece by piece. She stumbled toward the door, shouting, "Please! Somebody." No sound came out. Her voice stopped halfway between her throat and the air, vanishing before it was born. The phone on the table lit up again. Text appeared, one word at a time. "You wanted to be unseen. Now you are." She picked it up and hurled it across the room. It hit the wall and shattered. The pieces hovered in the air for a moment, frozen, glittering, and then dissolved into dust that never fell. When she looked down, her legs were gone up to her knees. The rest of her shimmered like heat over pavement. In the reflection, her double smiled one last time and whispered through the black glass, "When no one's watching, nothing has to exist." Then Danielle exhaled, and her breath didn't come back. The apartment was quiet when they found it. Weeks had passed since anyone remembered the woman who lived there. The neighbors spoke softly in the hallway, using words like strange and quiet. But none of them could recall her name. When the landlord checked the lease, the tenant field was blank. Still, someone had clearly been there. The table was set for one. A cup of cold coffee sat on the counter, untouched but not spoiled. The walls were covered in faint handprints, as if someone had tried to push their way out through the paint. The maintenance man, a tired older guy named Reggie, entered first. He carried a flashlight, though the power still worked. The light wavered when he stepped inside. "Hello?" he called. "Management. Anyone home?" No answer. He saw a phone on the floor, shattered, yet the screen still glowed faintly. The words, "Recording complete," flashed again and again. Reggie frowned and picked it up. The display changed instantly, showing a video thumbnail with the name "Nobody's Watching You.mp4. He hit play. The video opened on a dim living room, the same apartment, but empty. No furniture, no curtains, no woman. Just the faint flicker of movement near the edges of the frame, like something breathing behind the camera. He leaned closer. The static thickened. Then, a face appeared for a split second. Blurry, pale, eyes wide and staring. It wasn't exactly human. It looked stretched, like a photograph caught mid-scream. The lights in the apartment flickered. "Hell no," Reggie muttered, setting the phone down. But the video didn't stop. The image shifted to show the doorway, his doorway, and a shadow standing in it. He turned slowly toward the real door. Nothing there. When he looked back at the phone, the screen showed him, standing exactly where he was, flashlight in hand. The version of him in the video looked directly into the lens and mouthed words he hadn't said. "She's still here." The recording cut to black. Reggie dropped the phone and stumbled for the hall. Behind him, every device in the apartment came to life. Speakers, screens, even the dead television. They all whispered in perfect unison, calm and steady, the way a machine breathes. Recording complete. Then the lights went out. No one entered that apartment again.
Thank you for listening to The Storyteller's Moon. If this story touched you, scared you, or kept you on the edge of your seat, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps the stories alive, and I can't wait to share the next one with you under the moonlight. Until then, may your nights be safe and your dreams unforgettable.